Hi everybody, and welcome to another video. And today I thought that I'd do my own presidential tier list like items did. This time I'm gonna be using Obama and Trump, Bush and Clinton, even though they're newer presidents. I just felt they should be on here. But I'm going to start off, and we start off with James K. Polk, who was one of the best presidents I could remember. He won the Mexican-American War. He compromised with the 48th parallel, I think, with the British. He was the only president that didn't have debt, or the debt wasn't negative ever. So he was really good, and he did improve the Navy. I have to put him in the great column. And we have Zachary Taylor, who was a commander in the Spanish-American War, but at the same time, he didn't really do anything as president. So he's mediocre. He didn't do anything bad, but he did die, sadly. Millard Fillmore signed into the Fugitive Slave Act, which was just horrible, so he could already get in there. Franklin Pierce was a really bad president. If you know about the Kansas-Nebraska Act and other laws like that, and the Supreme Court ruling that slaves were property, was pretty bad. He was a bad president. Andrew Buchanan did nothing about the Civil War that was about to break out. He just acted like nothing was happening, and that was horrible. Abraham Lincoln, we all know, he gave an Emancipation Proclamation freeing slaves in the Confederate territories, not in American territories that had slaves, and that would only be if the Confederacy lost their rule in those areas. So nothing really changed, but he did cause the freeing of the slaves eventually, but it wasn't under him. He also did under him, he ordered the building of the transcontinental railroads that helped a lot, ending the Oregon Trail and making it easier to go through and to get the gold and stuff like that. Andrew Johnson was really bad. He tried stopping a lot of the radical Republicans from giving rights to the newly freed slaves. And he also was going to get impeached for firing people from his cabinet unconstitutionally. And Ulysses Simpson Grant, he really fought the KKK. He was good. He was really tough on the KKK and other radical groups, and he helped them a lot. So he's good. Rutherford B. Hayes, he's mediocre. He really didn't do a lot. When you think about him, you can't really remember anything. He's just there as a president. He doesn't really have accomplishments. Same with James Garfield. And anybody who doesn't have any accomplishments just is mediocre. So we have Chester A. Arthur, who really isn't known for anything. He didn't do anything, so I put him in mediocre. Grover Cleveland, he was known for his tariffs, but the United States was pretty stable under him, so I'm just gonna give him mediocre as well. And Benjamin Harrison was bad. He put the U.S. into debt, causing the depression. He spent way too much money. And McKinley, he was good. He helped in the Spanish American. He helped when the Spanish American War. When I said Spanish American War last time, I meant Mexican American War. Sorry about that. But he actually did help with the Spanish American War. And Theodore Roosevelt, if you personally know me, he's my favorite president. Theodore Roosevelt helped with the national parks and with stuff like that. So it didn't go great. It did help for worker rights at a time which were horrible. And he was kind of a progressive of the time, which would be pretty moderate for now. But generally, he was a pretty good president. And we have William Howard Taft. He was really mediocre. He wasn't really good, but he wasn't really that bad. A lot of these presidents didn't really do anything memorable. William Henry Harrison is mixed. He did get the United States into World War I, even though he promised that he wouldn't. But he did help win the war. He helped create the League of Nations, which was the United Nations. But he did implement the Sedition Act, which was really bad. And he did watch the KKK movie, if anybody remembers. And Warren Harding, also mediocre. He didn't want to be president. He didn't really do anything. And Calvin Coolidge, he was good. He helped out with the economy a lot. And I think that he'd be up there. He was one of those conservatives that helped the economy a lot. Okay, so now we have Herbert Hoover, and as we know, under him the Great Depression began. It was bound to happen, which is why at the time some people stopped investing in stocks, but it wasn't that much. Nobody really realized it. But just because of that, Herbert Hoover is bad. He did try, but he wasn't a good president. And Franklin Delano Roosevelt, I would put him in good, but the Green, not the Green Deal, I can't get that out of my head. The New Deal and the Second New Deal were really bad. They caused more of a recession and they prolonged the Depression. But I do really respect him for what he did during World War II. So I would have to give him a mixed. And Harry Truman, he did drop the nuclear bombs on Japan. I don't know if I support that or not, but Harry Truman wasn't that good of a president. He was okay. Not really a lot good about him. But I did like some of the stuff he did, especially how he was against communism and all that. So he's also mixed. He's not good, but mixed. Dwight D. Eisenhower, he was really good. He goes into good calm. He did a lot of stuff. He ended the Korean War, which Harry Truman got us into. He also got us in. He also helped with NASA. He helped spread capitalism around the world. And he defeated Hitler's. So he was really good. John F. Kennedy, he goes into the great section. He was really good. John F. Kennedy was good. He was really good under pressure. And even when he failed on the pigs invasions, he was able to do really good negotiating and ease tensions with the Soviet Union. Lyndon Baines Johnson, he's probably okay. I don't see why he gets that much criticism. I know that the Vietnam War was probably bad, but under him, America was winning the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War really did change into the North Vietnam's favor when we left. Lyndon Baines Johnson really didn't do that much. He was just okay. And for Richard Nixon, he was horrible. But that's just because of Watergate. If it wasn't for Watergate, then I would have put him way higher, probably in the good section, because he was a really good. What he did really good stuff. He founded the EPA, trade deals with China. He used the funds. He saved the environment a lot. Nixon was a really good president, but Watergate ruined it. And Gerald Ford pardoning Richard Nixon was probably kind of bad. He was mediocre. I remember that funny time where he said that the Soviet Union wasn't in control of Eastern Europe under his presidency, even though they clearly were. But you can't really remember a lot from him. Jimmy Carter, he was mediocre. Really didn't do a lot, but he did help with the Iran hostage crisis. But under him, oil prices went up, a recession began. He was pretty weak. He was a pretty weak president. Like, not in the sense of strength and like standing up for the country and all that. I also didn't like all the agreements with Israel and Palestine. That was pretty bad. So he's mediocre. And Reagan, I have to put him in great. Reagan is one of my favorite presidents of all time. Reaganomics was amazing, and he really did do well. So Reagan has to go to the top. There's really no denying that he was good. He wasn't that popular, but when you look back, he was probably the best conservative president we ever had as a country. And now we're going into the presidents. Well, I never did John Tyler. John Tyler was bad. He was kicked out of his own party. He really had nothing. And we have the last 5 presidents. George H.W. Bush was mixed. He was good with ending the Soviet Union's. He oversaw the collapse of the Soviet Union and the really amazing war in Iraq. That was great what he did there. How almost no, that's can't pronounce stuff today. But the last, so he's mixed because he did lead into a recession and all that. He's pretty mixed. The last 5 presidents were really bad. Bill Clinton, really. I see him being mediocre. He didn't do a lot. He wasn't a good president, and just all the allegations against him were pretty bad already, but him lying and how he was still the classical liberal, no, I don't really have a lot against him, but he didn't really get that much. He's not memorable for a lot of stuff. He's memorable for Monica Lewinsky, which is a big factor in his people hating him. But George H.W. Bush, my personal opinions say that he was horrible. I hated George H.W. Bush. Honestly, I do personally think that Bush should go to jail for the crimes that he committed and how he intentionally started wars over 9/11. He was just not good, causing recessions, everything. He was a horrible president. Horrible. Worst modern president possible. And Condoleezza Rice, his horrible Secretary of State. I'm a Republican, but I hated him. I understand why people would throw those shoes on him. He lied. The war was not over at the after 2 years. It's still going on. He just failed us as a country. He failed us. Honestly, he should be in jail. And Obama and Trump were my last two, I think. No, I have a few others. First of all, I have Martin Van Buren. He was bad. He caused the Panic of 1837. And William Henry Harrison, he died on his first month in office. Didn't really do anything. So I'm just gonna give him mediocre. And where's Andrew Jackson in here? Andrew Jackson is one of my favorites presidents of all time. But he did have some stuff that were bad. And I think that's why I didn't put him as great. He did do a lot in his presidency against the banks. And I think that I have to give him a lot of credit for that. And we have the final two people, Obama and Trump. Starting off with Obama. I don't know about Obama. I'd either give him mixed or mediocre. I think Obama was a mixed president. He did have really bad stuff. But he did help heal the economy in a few years. But Obamacare, the Iran nuclear deal, NAFTA, Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. Yeah, you know what? He's mediocre. Most presidents are mediocre. And of course we have Trump, who is the last president here. I wouldn't put him in bad. He didn't really do a lot of bad stuff. He did help a lot with a lot of stuff. I'm gonna give Trump okay. Trump is an okay president. He has done, personally, I think, a lot of good stuff as president. I have disagreed with some of the stuff he did, but in general, I do think that he is he's on the better end of presidents. And people are gonna get super mad at me for saying that Trump is better than Franklin Delano Roosevelt. But I do actually believe this. But yeah, I guess Trump got 12th place or whatever. If I had to sort them out, I would give Trump here, but I don't want to sort it out right now. Thanks everybody for watching, and if you disagree with anything, please comment down below. I always want to hear your opinions. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.